Go to the hotline, and Nate Olson joining us from SB Live, part of the Sports Illustrated Network. It's fun to say, first time we introduce you here, too, Nate. How you doing?
Yeah. High school on SI, it's got a good ring to it. And I can tell people that I work for Sports Illustrated, and that's, I was back home, my hometown, unfortunately, attending a very sad funeral, but I was talking to somebody, and they said, well, that's been your dream since you were fourth grade. You probably had that written down somewhere as a goal. And I said, yeah, I bet I do. I bet that's somewhere in my mom's attic. There's something written about that. So good place to be, and we're honored to be with them and ready for some more high school football.
So, what stood out to you from week one? What game do you want to highlight?
Well, there were quite a few, but one that I don't know that we talked a lot about, and we talked a little bit about it maybe, was Boonville and Poto. And Boonville, the defending 3A champion, think so much of their program and their coaching staff, the tradition there, just the atmosphere and everything. And, we have something new this year. We're picking all the games. We're having a margin of victory next to those in parentheses. And we picked Boonville to win. Unbeknownst to us, Poto's coach had to resign abruptly, and so I think that probably had something to do with it, but Boonville ends up winning. So, huge win. Poto is a very good small school football power over there, but so is Boonville in Arkansas, and I thought that was a nice win for the Bearcats, and Jace Washburn, their quarterback, a guy that's going to take on more of a responsibility this year. They've got a stingy defense, and that when you beat a team like that, it just really gets your season off to a good start, and they don't have a lot of time to celebrate because now they play Ozark, who is a real good 4A team, and Toby Wilbanks is a dynamic quarterback. That should be a really hard-fought, tough game between those two teams that are, rivals in the River Valley, in your backyard over there in Fort Smith, the area, and just two good towns that love football. That's another good challenge for Boonville, too. They like to load up that non-conference season, play some tough teams. They played Harding Academy before and taken their lumps in some cases, and then they just come back stronger. So that's definitely a game to watch this week, too, But I did want to mention Boonville. And also, as far as games last week, Lakeside and Garin Rockwell down in Hot Springs beats Lake Hamilton again. Got that one wrong. Thought Lake Hamilton was going to bounce back after last year's loss. They've kind of been the dominant program in Hot Springs. Lake Hamilton, Tommy Gillerin, and Lakeside and Garin Rockwell, the second-year head coach. He was an assistant last year, 2 years ago, took over the program last year with a lot of enthusiasm. I don't think anybody thought that they were going to be second in their league, and they were, and they beat Lake Hamilton. One beat them early and then beat them again this year. So they beat Hot Springs last year to get that second seed, and Hot Springs is a good football team, and they ended up getting the third seed and had to play Shiloh and got bounced in the playoffs with just two losses, thanks to Lakeside. So a good shout out to those guys too. They lost some pieces, but when you have a good attitude, you've kind of even with 1 year, I think he instilled this winning attitude there to where they reloaded and now got the season off to a good start against the Lake Hamilton team that we think is much improved. That hadn't made the playoffs. Last year it was the first time they hadn't made it since like 2005. Thought they were going to be a lot better this year, and then lose that game. But it was a good football game, high scoring, close game. Lakeside gets the win, and that's big for them as they get ready to play Sheridan and Kevin Kelly this week, who they had a big win against Whitehall. So that's going to be another big game this week.
Sheridan still playing. I mean, is it Kevin Kelly football? Is it the same thing they were doing in PA? Same thing?
Well, I was having lunch with some guys, and I had one of our plays of the week. You can vote for that. It's going to be live this afternoon. But one of the plays of the week is a hook and lateral. And, that's a staple in his offense. And it's, all that trickery. You got to worry about the onside kicks. He got 3 of them, or the team did. And on offense, you got to worry about wherever they line up in different formations. They've got a very good running back in Isaiah Stevens. He's a sophomore. He's already has Division I offers. He played as a freshman last year in 6 games, and they threw it screen pass, kind of to the left side to a tight end or fullback, and then he flipped it to that running back who was coming full speed, and he went, I looked like about 70 yards for a touchdown. And that's vintage Kevin Kelly, and that's what you get, when you hire him, is those gadgets and the unknown and the unorthodox stuff. And, they dominated Whitehall, and this Lakeside, this is going to be a good game with 2 good coaches. Kind of upstart, Lakeside's an upstart program, and Sheridan's trying to get in that level too. A second win would be big. They play Rogers next week on a Thursday night, so they would like to go 2-0. I know it was a big deal to win that. It's a trophy game, the 270 Classic, and the Kevin Kelly era is off and running.
Nate, this is Clay Henry.
Hey,
and when
Clay.
you talk Sheridan football, and my father-in-law, Bobby Ashcraft, was a head coach there. Lewis Campbell, my best friend, was a head coach there.
Yeah.
And I know what the history of Sheridan football is, and it has struggled for about 80 years.
Yeah.
And this is monumental what he's doing.
Yeah.
What Kevin Kelly's doing.
And Don Campbell was a coach there too.
Don Campbell was coach there, and he left. He went to win. He got out of there.
He did. Yeah. No, it's interesting that and a lot of people do not know that history. It's been high school football futility. Let's just call it the way it is. And they have a group of people in that community that want to win, and they have wanted to win for a while, and they have tried different coaches. I think this is the 3rd coach in 4 years or something like that, but they've gone through a bunch. And they had a guy named Scott Nethery as their coach back about 15 years ago. Scott's now the AD at Benton. He was doing some good things there and got leukemia, in his late 30s, early 40s, and had to quit coaching. And that kind of started a spiral of a lot of different coaches, and just he offered some stability, but then, he couldn't do it.
Yeah, the good players have played baseball. They might play football in junior high, then they opt for baseball. Sure, that's just been the track record there.
Mike Moore is a legendary baseball coach. He's produced several guys that have gone on to play for the Razorbacks, and you're exactly right. They'll play junior high, and then they realize
the quarterbacks become pitchers.
Football. Yep. But Kevin's the guy that's going to get kids to come out. And, he talked during the press conference last week that one of his defensive backs said, I don't know about this no punting thing. Like, I'm a D-back, and I don't want to give him short field. And he said, well, on Madden and college football, do you punt ever? And he said, no. And he said, well, it's like the video game. He said, are you trying to win? He said, yeah. He goes, so am I. And he said, we like those odds. And so when he broke it down to him like that, the kid's like, okay, I guess I understand that. And he said they've all bought in, and they've played well in this benefit game against Malvern and then the game against Whitehall. I think he's good for at least 2 or 3 wins. Just him, his knowledge, the excitement that he brings to the program, and picked last by a lot of people. I don't think that's where they're going to finish.
No,
and
I don't
I think
either.
they're going to be a pretty good football team from October. I mean, they're just going to get better and better. They play in a tough conference, but I think they're going to be better than people think.
The thing that I've known forever about Kevin Kelly is we latch on to the hook and lateral, the onside kicks, the 4 downs on offense, not to punt. But if you watch them play fundamental football, they are solid. So, you can't you just don't skip past, all the window dressing. They'll play good football at Sheridan, but it's all that stuff that, all those gadgets and everything, the kids, like, hey, I want to go play for him. And I saw the same thing, with when Rick Jones went to Greenwood. And, they were talking about, throwing it around, running the spread. All at once, everybody in the hallway that wasn't playing football is walking up to him saying, I won't play football, coach. And it's a major deal to get the good athletes not to play baseball, not to play basketball, and be football players. Yeah,
he understands the game. And, he incorporates the gadget stuff, but it's not a gimmick. It's woven into their philosophy. And I really think, this may not, the window may have closed on this, but I really think that he could have been, a Division I offensive coordinator, possibly a special teams coach, and he's done a lot of consulting because, he would still incorporate some of the gadgets, kind of like what Malzahn did, but he knows how to run that wide open offense, and you give him a couple of guys that can throw it and catch it. He's just really good at teaching the game and getting guys to buy into what, he said. He understands the game of football, that chess, he plays it well. And I think he would have done well if somebody gave him a chance to be a D1 offensive coordinator. I think he could have done that. But he's happy to be coaching football. You can see it. He's got a glimmer in his eye. He loves being around kids. And I think he sees this as a major challenge. And if he could turn them into a winner, that would be a really big thing for the community.
Hey, Nate, last thing, because we're headed up to Mountain Home tomorrow because of Mountain Home versus Harrison. You talk about good rivalries in the state of Arkansas. What are you seeing there?
A very underrated rivalry. And when these two teams get together, it's always, a physical game. And I like what Steve Airy's done up there. Harrison's had more success in 5A. They're a traditional power. Tommy Tice turned them into a really good program. They had Brandon Burlsworth. Everybody knows about the Goblins. They've been competitive. They won championships and conference titles. But Mountain Home takes some lumps in their league, but they've won playoff games. I think it's going to be another really good game in the series. But Mountain Home beat them last year. They played a team out of Missouri and beat them very easily. Harrison's game with Branson was called off because of weather. So I'm going to give Mountain Home the edge in this game again, but I really like a guy named Eli McNutt that plays for Harrison. He's a two-way guy, running back, linebacker. Just expect a lot of physicality and a great crowd there. This should be a good game.
Well, we'll leave it there, and we'll visit again on Monday and get some of your favorite performances and biggest games of the weekend. Nate, appreciate you.
Good to hear your voice, Nate.
Yeah, good to hear you too, Clay. Thanks, guys.
That is Nate Olson. He'll join us weekly from SB Live.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.